Oh, I also made another intolerable drunken movie about basics skateboarding. Lots of this on YouTube, basics to skateboarding, and there's lots and lots of mistakes. I've been through loads of tutorials online, and some poor guy had his entire video collection, front side, backside, and backside, front side, and I painfully had to correct him on it. But there's lots of lingo, and there's no exact skill. There's lots of different boards, there's lots of different people, so it's really hard to get a unified lingo. Again, these are for absolute beginners because I am an absolute beginner and I have a wonderful insight into this being a beginner. So, first thing we'd go, foundations are everything in life, I'm like master at guitar, so I can and crap at skateboarding, and foundations are everything. You can buy a Metallica tab book when you're a kid and learn Kirk Hammett solos pretty quickly and easily. Be very, very impressive. You don't have foundations really, and that's really need to build up a strong set of foundations. I didn't tune my guitar, for example, for like a year or two when I first got it, and somebody tuned my guitar and I had to relearn everything. So setup is good to get into your head at the beginning. Not all skateboards is a bit far, but this skateboard is not symmetrical. So there's lots of different skateboards. There are symmetrical skateboards. This board isn't symmetrical. As you see, this one here is longer or bigger or steeper, and these trucks aren't symmetrical either. You can probably buy symmetrical trucks, but one is bigger. I painstakingly measured, and I think the bigger one goes at the front. But again, really, any way you want to set it up, it might be different for everyone. I put the big ones at the front because it gets this kind of sedan effect. The American cars with the big wheels on the front, and they lean into them and they wobble. You see the Joker, Heath Ledger's Joker, and he's in the police car, and he's zigzagging, he's winding back and forth because the car drives faster when it's wiggling. And that's something I really like to do, is wiggle. It gets you a bit of speed, and it kind of pushes when you wiggle. And if your trucks are set up right, you can wiggle. Or your board's set up right, you can wiggle. So, counterintuitively, when I was a kid, I used to use this big side again, the steeper side. This is a terrible place to be making a video, sorry. Can't even see it. It's not very bright out today. See, this is somewhat steeper. That's actually the front. I don't know who designed this standard board. I think it was like Muska or Mullen or someone, and that probably developed. See the way this is taller on the front. I've got a taller truck there. So it kind of looks like a shark going forward. You got a big front and big truck at the front. The reason this is steeper, counterintuitively, is because when you're popping a nollie, you got a bigger gradient, so the board doesn't get caught on the lip on the ground, and it's got a better pop. I used to do great ollies when I was a kid, and it turns out I was doing fakie nollies. Sorry, not to get ahead of myself, because this is for absolute beginners. And there's a lot of different ways. So there's a front side of the board and a back side of the board, and a skater can be front side or back side as well. So there's 4 different things that are always kind of very confused. Before I even get onto anything, setup is really important. You got a few things to set on the board. You got wheel tightness and you got truck tightness. Righty tighty, lefty loosey to tighten and loosen. And I would recommend very tight. I see a lot of skateboarders with really, really loose decks, and I'll get onto that in a minute. And wheel tightness is another big thing. So a lot of people just want to put their wheels on and make them spin as fast as possible. Really, and just have them really loose. I don't advise that at all. If you have any wobble in the wheel whatsoever, when you're doing fast hills and stuff, the wheels will start to wobble and the whole deck will start to wobble. At the very beginning of Tony Hawk's Pro Skateboarder 1, you see a wheel like this and it just spins. And see that? It rolls back on itself when it stops. So that's the kind of tightness you want, is when it rolls. But when it stops rolling, it rolls back a bit. It goes rolls and it stops. See the way it rolled back? It's got a little bit of grip. You want it to roll forward and then stop, and it stops, it'll jerk backwards a little bit. A good way to balance the tightness or looseness of all wheels on your board is to listen for the whirl and try to match the whirls. So you can get like a whiz, the tighter it gets, so you can make them all very equally by listening to the whiz. And again, like how long this has been. You really want to get that, because if it's too loose, the board will just fly from underneath you. You want a tiny bit of grip. So again, just for stability and control. And that's the same with this as well. You want this kind of tight. A little looser on the front than on the back. And that's why skating backwards on a board can be different, because one side turns better and the other side, it's like a car. The front wheels turn and the back ones don't. So one thing you're going to have to figure out for yourself is what stance you have. If you're comfortable in any stance, well, I'm very happy for you. You've got a great career in skateboarding ahead of you. If you'll find out very easily what's comfortable for you and what's impossible for you. So the comfortable one is called normal. I'm normal. I call it boring because I like a mullet and all of this, but I'm left foot forward, and you really need to. You find out really quick. Like if you try to do this foot forward, you try to push. One's impossible and one's kind of comfortable. So put both feet on the front board at the beginning. Try right, pushing with your right foot, which is called goofy, because I don't know. Right-handed people use their left foot forward, like guitar, you use your left hand. Despite I can hardly pick up a can of Coke or something with my left hand, I can use my left hand for loads of intricate guitar. So if you're right-handed somewhat, but just people that are right-handed and left-footed and left-footed and right, it's not, again, everyone's different. And the best skaters are usually these, ambidextrous skaters, or typically goofy skaters can really seem to be ones that kind of I'm getting this board wet on the press. You don't want to get your little holes wet, never skating wet. But yeah, so you have to find out, first of all, which way you go. And online, it's a lot of different stuff. So, and you figure out, again, you want this tight, because if this is loose, this is your main portion of, you need to steer with your foot, your main foot. So my left foot is forward. So when you're pushing, you need to be able to steer left and right. And if this is too loose, you're going to break your ankle, you're going to not have a strong grip. So you want the front truck a bit, not too loose. I see loads of people see you get this, if your wheels are too loose, it'll touch. I don't think you're supposed to ever be that loose. It's not there really. It's a little bit there. But again, it'll help wobbles and stuff like that. Fucking soaked. It gets wet. Okay, so you find out which one's which. You need to learn to push and steer a bit with your foot. We'll go at the front. I'm just only burning time, so I have to get a bus. It's too early for the bus. Baby steps. Mr. Miyagi teaches like to Karate Kid, wax on, wax off, wax on, wax off. There's a lot of that in skateboarding. And you'll notice people like Rodney Mullen or Andy Andrews did a lot of wax on, wax off. A lot of literally backwards, forwards, wax on, wax off, tick-tock, weird foundations. Good thing to do, like I said earlier on, that the front and the back, is to mark your board a bit in some way. Get some Tipp-Ex or spray paint. I used to have it very much like Andy Anderson. I had like a big green one on one end and a big pink one or something on the other end, so it's very easy for you to see which side of your board is which. When you're pushing, it's important that you get both your feet straight. If you are pushing, okay, so you're up in skating, if you push and your feet aren't straight, you're going to break your leg. You can see people that don't. So when you learn to push with your left foot, just learn to walk with it first, but then you need to jump up and switch in. And then when you're popping off, you need to jump back and switch bilateral. It's really important that you get that early. So if you start pushing with your feet sideways like this, you're going to fucking hurt yourself. So you need to be pushing bilateral straight. Switch up. And switch back down. You really need to get straight, because if you don't, you're going to hurt your back. Or you're going to have prolonged muscle problems. If you start skating like with sideways and pushing with your legs kind of wobbly, you can see some people that don't have those kind of basic foundations and pretty much pro. Okay, they're fucking up now. So yeah, that's skating front side. So if you're going to find out which is impossible, like this is impossible for me to do, and that's skating fakie. Skating fakie, you're better off thinking about it skating backwards. So when you're skating fakie, again, the impossible one, you have it in your head that you're looking backwards, and you actually are skating backwards. It's very hard to do both sides forward, but again, some people are ambidextrous and can very easily do both sides forward. When you're starting skating, I recommend you start on a crappy surface. A really crappy surface like this, because there's more grip. The board won't slide out and roll out from under you so much. Again, if your wheels are really loose as well when you're setting up. If you buy a cheap board, probably like from some catalogue, it's likely that everything will be very tight. The trucks will be very tight for like, they don't want you to harm yourself. You need to loosen them to get them cozy. There's a nice amount to turn when you're able to make them. It's a bit too tight actually. Again, if it's too loose, you won't be able to have great control and support on your front left leg and your main prior leg. If it's too wobbly, you're trying to push, you're going really high speeds, you want it kind of stiff. You know, you get used to it either way, you know, like if you have really loose wheels, you're going to be like a very, very, very fast, crazy, wild board. But people get used to it, I've seen it all the time. Really loose wheels, they go fucking 90 bombing on them. It's a pretty crap video, sorry. It's because I planned it out, actually. Pushing, switching up into a very bilateral position. And plus the camera angle is not great, sorry about that. So, switch from there, switch, and then straight, switch back up. That probably is actually the basic information that I got at the moment. It really is impossible to try and skate backwards. Get cozy first. The main thing you want to do is start to learn to navigate crappy surfaces. I don't even want to talk about turning front side and turning back side and stuff now. But you really want to learn to skate as many crappy street surfaces as possible, like navigating streets is what your main priority of a skateboard really is. So you need to learn to go over loads of little bumps. There's loads of tutorials on that, you know, trying the nollies, so don't really need to do it. But I'll tell you this, one thing while I'm here, when you're pushing, it's a weird little Einsteinian thing. There's a lot in skateboard tricks. They take this little moment when their weight is taken off the board. So when you're pushing and you're going fast, every time you push down on your right foot, you take pressure off your left foot a little bit. That'll help you get over bumps and cracks and stuff. If you step over them and you just let the board pop up under them. But at the same time, you do this when you're pushing anyway. If you listen to my whoosh, 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 I take my pressure off my left foot every time I put my right foot on the ground for a brief moment. So even if I'm going really, really fast, it's like hitting the ground running. I bend down a bit, like even, and take the weight off my left foot. That's how you build speed. You put your foot down, take the pressure off for a brief little moment, really brief little moment. And it's those weird little brief moments where you're putting your hand down, putting your foot down. Where people like do like things like jump down and grab the board or something, do a thing while they're moving. I don't know what they're called, cavemans, they're kind of hand plansy. Loads of really cool retro moves where they do that. Another fun thing to do. Dropping down is kind of important. Dropping down. You really do need to get good at this, I suppose. So there's a few different ones you practice when you're a kid. You know, you throw it up like this and you jump down and you land on both legs or whatever. But you really want to learn this step in one. As you trail the board a little bit, so it balances for a tiny second, and you need to drop it. See, that's terrible. You need to drop into your primary stance, and you drop, the board might bounce or twist. So you need to it's really just practice. So like when you're just walking along or walking up a slightly steep hill like that, just take the board up and use every opportunity just to keep practicing. Drop down, and then that turns into a running drop down, which I haven't got into yet. Very much looking forward to it. So just a wiggle. Love wiggling all over town. Wiggle. I have it set up at the moment, it's not a great wiggle. It used to be much better. Wiggle. It just kind of pushes like a snake, or if you've seen people do tic-tacs or spacewalking. Pretty awesome stuff. But that snake motion drives you and pushes you forward, gives you a little bump. Just say that don't skate water ever. Water destroys skateboards. Cozy on the back, but then every time you step down you do turn your feet straight. twist back up into it. You're going to really cause some back problems, hip problems, particularly your hip. If you push kind of goofy looking, I think that's where goofy came from, because even Andy kind of likes to press pro, but just from goofy skating has a kind of, I don't know, goofiness about it. Don't use the N word, that's kind of outdated at this stage. Yeah, rocky surfaces are great for practicing. Board won't fly from under you. If you ever find those kind of bumpy things in streets that are next to like crosswalks, they're great because they just lock you completely in position. You can practice stationary ollies. What you want to do as well is just, if you get hit like this, see what I'm doing now, and I'm just rolling backwards because I'm on a hill, just let that happen. You need to get good at moving fakie, moving backwards. So just let your board roll backwards anytime and just get used to that, rolling backwards, turning, rolling backwards. Oh, that's so scary. Lucan is, and that's where you learn to do like revert 180s, backside 180s, frontside 180s. I strangely found the backside 180 kind of handy. I've only my newest thing. The only thing I can do at the moment is backside 180, or backside twist. It's not even a name. 180, backside turn, revert. But yeah, I have advice for that as well. Can't really show you because there's a terrible camera angle. But don't twist your torso so much. It's a really bad habit to start. If you watch Andy Anderson spinning around like Rodney Mullen, he keeps his body very straight. And it's very hard to throw the energy in and then not twist your torso. Sorry, not twist your torso so much. You really want to keep your body straight. You're going to again throw your back out. If you are trying to do reverts or 180s and turn, it's like one of the best, most important things you're going to start doing at the beginning is tic-tacking and learn to 180 turn, 180 switch, revert, whatever it is. Turning towards your back is backside and turning towards your front is front side. It seems intuitive, but if you think about clocks and circles, people can get it mixed up. So when you're turning backside, you turn into your blind side, you can't see what's coming, and you can usually always see on the front side. There's also another little trick. This hill used to be big and scary to me when I first started skating, but if you find little hills like this and you're tearing down them full speed, brakes and crap, I always found a really fun trick is to slalom down it. So I wind down, and every time I wind I slow down. I can wind and wind in and out of the traffic, I get in a lot of trouble for it. No helmet as well. Yeah, wind across the road, just wind like a snake, so when you turn and wind, you slow down. You can wind down a big hill without having to tear down it. Kill yourself. Right. Oh, they love me around here. See, here's what I do here now. And I just wind, keep my speed slow, all the way down. I'm going to put this camera away now as well before I kill myself. Take it with you. May as well. Speed things up a bit now. I've got a car coming. Time the cars. One coming behind me. Let's speed this up a bit. Looking clear. Ramp it up here. A bit of wobble there. And this is where I do my Bart Simpson. Because it changes to